Hey, hello, and welcome to Pro Trader Strategies Market Commentary for Friday, August the 16th. My name's Eric Wilkinson. Yeah, you might recognize me as the Wolfman from mainstream media, but I'm here to teach you guys some different option strategies that you can implement into your portfolios, but please do that in your own way. Also remember, past performance of any trading system or methodology is not necessarily indicative of future results. All right, let's get it on with economic data. Nothing really across the pond, but here in the United States, we got building permits. Remember, you can pull as many building permits as you want. It doesn't necessarily mean you're going to build on those permits, but it's always a good sign to see those and a good thing to see them reflected in the housing starts, to be quite honest. Well, anyway, we got 134 million building permits pulled, expected to be 127. That would lead one to believe that they are looking to build a lot more, right? Well, then we got housing starts, though, and it came in at 1,190,000 units actually started, and then it was expected to be 1,250,000 units. So it's a little bit lower than that, than expected there. I don't know if weather may have had something to do with that. I don't really know, but not a great thing when we start seeing that go down. With interest rates lowering, though, I would expect that these housing or the builder, the construction guys are going to be building a lot more. It's just a lot cheaper for them to do it right now rather than when interest rates are a little bit higher. And University of Michigan consumer sentiment coming in at 92, expected to be 97. Still a good reading whatsoever, up in the 90s. Hundreds are great, but anything above in the 90s is great. And inflation expectations right there at 2.7%. All right, let's talk about the overall markets. Get on to the fun stuff. We've got crude oil only up about 30 cents, but it's right there at the point of control. And, you know, it's going to be hard to kind of break out of this. One thing of note is that we have consistently started seeing lower highs and lower lows going in here. So we could easily see this if it pushes down to try and create a lower low. We are going to be looking at going below $50 a barrel. I don't expect that. I think that the demand for crude oil is going to keep it pretty buoyant. Mid-50s, though, I think is the sweet spot for the economy. It doesn't mean that demand's not going to drive it a little bit higher, but, you know, once we start getting up into those 60s, it really starts putting a crimp on spending elsewhere other than jamming money into the tank. All right. Gold futures coming off a little bit. You can expect to see what we're seeing here because now we've got the we've got the bonds off by almost a full point on the day. They were down a little over a full point earlier this morning, but we are seeing the equities start to rally, causing the VIX to come off. So the levers and pulleys of the markets are really coming into fruition here, as we've been talking about lately. You know, if we see the equities rally, that should cause the bonds, gold, and things correlated to that where it's a flight to safety to come off. But then when we start seeing this upward push in, say, the Dow Jones being up 250 plus points, that's going to cause the VIX to come off. That's going to cause the bonds to come off, the gold come off, because people are taking their money out of gold and trying to throw it back into the equities. One thing to note, we've been talking about this yesterday and today. We've come down, tested some nice support areas, but we've bounced right back up. And we've bounced, I shouldn't say but, we've come right back to where I've talked about, with it coming back to the point of control and starting to look to want to settle down here, so we could see the VIX really start to come out as we come into this area of the point of control right here. The POC is what it's also called. So the POC is lined up right here. We have bounced down and away and come back to that area. That's where the most time and volume has been spent, folks, and that is where the market is going to find comfort. Because when you think about it, if we all bought right here, there's no angst to get out. There's no reason to. We aren't up money, we're not down money. But when you get to extremes, that's when things start flipping on people. Again, here we go with the NASDAQ. Yesterday, I was talking about how this doji was getting a little bit funky on me. After I did the video, started looking back, you know, yes, it is a continuation pattern type of candle there. But one thing that gave me a little bit of solace there was the fact that it settled above this 61 Fibonacci. And I was expecting it to say, hey, it's bounced off that 61 Fibonacci. It held support. We're very close to that point of control, especially in the equities, that it's going to kind of want to stick around there. Yes, we've had some major moves. Everybody's been talking about how crazy it's been in the markets, but to be quite honest, for about 2 weeks, we haven't gone anywhere, right? So that's a good thing. That's what I've been talking about, is that we are going to start hanging out in and around that point of control for these equities. And that's what we've done. Despite the fact that we've had these, 1,000-point moves or whatever, 800-point move in the Dow Jones and, 100-point move in the E-mini S&Ps, which is a very rare occasion. We've stuck right within where I've said, which is right between these two Fibonacci's. So those are what we've been talking about. Yes, it's been all over the place. We've seen volatility spike, but again, for the past couple of weeks, we really have not gone anywhere. So that is a good thing. Maybe we can get the volatility to come out. I haven't adjusted anything in my portfolio, you guys. I'm sticking with it. You can check with overnight inventory getting long coming into today. We continued into that positive move. That is, again, very bearish. We talk about that when you don't try and flesh out overnight inventory, it becomes very bullish. Or if, overnight inventory is short, it becomes very bearish. What we're seeing here, the mini S&Ps kind of cruising up to the upside. We are right at the point of control for the 52-week. I don't expect us to get a whole lot of movement going on. But having said that, I haven't added anything or taken anything off on my portfolio. I wanted to see how yesterday's setup, whether or not it got confirmed to an upside bounce or, continuation to the downside. So I haven't added anything. Going to go into the weekend, let some volatility hopefully come out and reassess for next week. All right. And that's all I got for you guys, other than check out the webinar from yesterday and check us out on Facebook. If you can't take that, take it easy.